with another video. So hey y'all, I'm back again with another video. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a recreation of the look I did on Friday. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen it where I took over golden hour and took some really bomb photos. So I tried to make it as beginner friendly as possible. Because as you can see, I'm just outlining my brows with a regular black pencil. I prefer to use a black pencil because the brown, I realize, doesn't look natural on my skin because I can't find a brown dark enough that matches my hair. So I just use a black and I just outline my eyebrows with the black, and then I just lightly fill them in. I just fill in the tail end. I don't fill in the inner corner because, as you can see, I then use a brush, an angled brush that I created by cutting one of my flat brushes, and just use that and just fill in the brow, because the thing is, the pencil I use is very creamy. So if I used it to just draw the brow, it would look so blocky and so garish, and I am not trying to look like Frankenstein's monster out here. So as you can see, I just lightly fill in the tail end. I rarely, if ever, go to the inner corner, and I just fill in the tail end, and then when I reach the inner corner, I just brush up. I do lighter strokes so that you can have that nice ombre effect, and use a spoolie whenever needed to just put the brow hairs where you want them to be. And that's essentially how I do my brows. So you're going to be doing a lot of spooling just so it's where you want it to be. Then afterwards, I take my LA Girl concealer in Fawn, that's my highlight shade, and I take a flat angled brush, really tiny flat angled brush, and I just outline my brows just to give myself a little more coverage, to make it a little more vavoom, to make it stand out. Now I tend to only outline underneath my brows. If I go up over my brows, I usually only use my actual skin color concealer, and that's a beautiful bronze in LA Girl, because I don't want the top part of my brow to stand out. I just want the bottom part to stand out. So I'll just use a little, and what I tend to do is that I try to do the drawing process as simple as possible so that I don't have to do a lot of correcting. Then I take any brush. I usually use my fingers, but this time I will say, okay, let me use this brush. I don't know what this brush is called. I could not tell you. I know it's from Wet n Wild, but I use that and I just blend out the concealer in some sweeping motions. Then I take that same concealer and I put it on my eyelids, all of them, well, just on my lid, as a primer for the eyeshadow that I'm going to be using, because as a dark skinned person, I can't just put eyeshadow on my skin. It will not show up as well. The Juvia'S place actually shows up, but not as vibrant as I want it to be. And I use the same brush and I just go over that and blend it all over my eye, burn it from my inner corner up to my nose, up to my brow, and all out. So I'm going to be using the Juvia'S place Zulu palette, and I'm taking the pink shade as my transition shade, and I'm just using a blending brush, a fluffy blending brush. I paid like $250 Jamaican for this. You can get it at Beauty Bogo in Halfway Tree if you're in Jamaica, or you can use any blending brush if you're from any other country. I honestly can't say. Or you can get it from Morphe. Morphe has some really awesome and cheap brushes. Please stop. My cat is being loud. And I just blend that all over my transition area that's above my crease, lower a little below my brow bone, and I blend it from my inner corner all the way out to the tail end of my wing, of my brow, I should say. And I just blend it out, and I pack on more when needed, because it's both a transition shade and, how do I say this? I'm using it both as a transition shade and as I want it to stand out as well. Then I'm taking the purple shade on a different brush, the deep purple shade, and I really love purple. So, and it looks really awesome. And I'm just blending that in, into my crease. I'm blending it a little upwards into the pink, so you have that nice gradient. And the trick is to always keep blending, no matter what. You blend and you blend because you don't want to have. I'm letting out my cat, so if you hear that sound, it's probably my door pulling. So you don't want to have a pink line and then you have a purple line, because honestly, if you're in Jamaica, sometimes it's getting better. But in rural Jamaica, where I'm from St. Thomas, by the way, and I will rep St. Thomas forever. That's usually how it looks. Then I'm taking my LA Girl Smoky palette, and it's a really cheap palette. You can get it anywhere. And I'm taking that black shade, and as you can see, I've used that a lot. I've used that black shade a lot because what I'm really scared of using black in colorful looks. So I tend to use the LA Girl because it's not as pigmented and it's easier to blend out. Because the last time I used black in the eyeshadow look from a different palette, let's just say I ended up looking like a raccoon. So I just put the black shade right in that outer V of my eye, and then I use the same purple brush that I use, the brush that I use with the purple shadow, and I just blend out that black into the crease and into that outer V. Then I take that shimmer shade, that pinkish shimmer shade, and I put it on my pinky because I realized that using my pinky is better. When I use my finger, I get a better color payoff. The brush doesn't really do much for me. So I take some of that pinkish, it has some goldish in it, shimmer shade, and I put it in the inner part of my eye, the inner lid, and I specifically leave the center of my lid empty. And for the first look I created, the first time I did this look, I actually cut my crease, but then I realized that I could use my finger. I didn't have to cut the crease because they were so pigmented, it went on just as well. Then I'm taking that aquamarine teal shimmer shade that's above the purple, and I'm just putting that right in the center of my lid and bringing it up to my crease. So I'm using my fingers to create what you would actually do with a cut crease, only without the concealer. So I'm ensuring that I blend it out. I blend it out with my fingers, and then for that outer part, that outer lid space where you see between the purple and the teal, I'm getting a little more purple shadow, just a little bit, and just blending it all together, because like I said, blending is the key to eyeshadow. You have to blend and blend and blend, because at the end of the day, you don't want to look like a clown with unblended eyeshadow. It's just going to look awful. So I just blend that all around and down into my crease, and I ensure that I blend the pinkish shimmer shade together with the teal shade, and I blend the teal shade with the purple shade, and I blend it upwards into my crease. I don't go over my crease. Well, let me tell, I go a little bit over my crease because I have slightly hooded eyes, so if I don't, then you won't see it. So I go a little bit above my crease, and I ensure I blend it together. And what I did, I then take back the same pink brush that I use without putting any more product on the brush, and I just blend up there, up at the top, my transition shade, so that it actually shows up, and just blend out any harsh edges that I have. And as you can see, this is a very long blending process because I was looking in the mirror and I realized that it wasn't blending out. So yeah, so after I finished one eye, oh dear, voiceovers are very hard. After I finished one eye, I then take the shimmer shade again, and I like to get full use out of my palette. I then use the shimmer shade and any flat brush, and I just use it as a brow highlight, because I paid 3,500 for this Juvia'S Place palette at Beauty Bogo. I think most of my stuff that I buy are from Beauty Bogo. The concealers are from Beauty Bogo, the palette, the brushes. So I use that shimmer shade, and the three as brow bone highlight. And then you don't have to do a wing. I wanted to do a wing, but then I changed my mind in the middle of it, so that's why I'm doing a really thin wing. It's just there because I was going to put on some lashes, but then guess who couldn't find them? I have no idea where they are. I think Fireball, that's my cat, you met him in the last video. I think he got a hold of them because I sometimes left my makeup drawer open and he went into it, so those are gone. So now going into the face, I'm using the Sacha Mattifier Primer, because I have oily combination skin. My T-zone especially is very oily, so as you can see, I'm concentrating the primer there. I tend to use a different primer for my outside of areas because those aren't as oily, but I just blend that out. Then I take the Sacha Buttercup, and this is a step that I learned from Jackie Aina, where she takes her any loose powder. She usually uses Laura Mercy, but I have the Sasha Buttercup, so I'm just gonna use that. And she uses a damp beauty blender and or beauty sponge, and she presses the powder into her skin, into her, especially her T-zone areas or oily areas, and that essentially controls the oils for her. And I realized that I tried it, and I've tried it multiple occasions with the primer, without a primer, different areas, and it works well for me. So now I'm going to color correct because I have some trucks underneath my eyes. I don't know if you can see the black circles under my eyes. So this is when I squeeze the primer, the thing that happens with LA Girl primers and they shoot up. Yeah, that happened to me. But like, yeah, I take the red because on dark skin you would use red to cancel out the darkness under your eye. So I use a little bit, just a little bit, y'all. You don't need to do your entire face. It's not foundation, just a little bit under my eye and in the corners of my nose, and I blend it around my mouth as well because I have a little discoloration around there. And I use a beauty sponge that I cut in half and I blend it upwards in onto my nose, the side of my nose, because I wear glasses, so that dark spot that glasses wearers get. Yeah, I have that. And I just blend and blend and blend it out. It doesn't have to be blended out completely, but I tend to blend it out completely because I don't like the red. I don't want to look red underneath my foundation, although it's medium to full coverage, but I like to see when it's a good blended surface. So yeah, just blend until you're comfortable. Honestly, that's the best advice I can give. So after blending, then this is a foundation that I had to finish. I used the LA Girl Pro Coverage High Definition Illuminating Foundation in Rich Cocoa, and I use the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Poreless in 360 Mocha. And the thing is why I mix them is because the LA Girl is really red, but it's my skin color, but the Maybelline Fit Me was finishing and it's golden, so I just pour them into this container and I mix them to get that nice color that I have, the coverage of the LA Girl with the undertone of the Maybelline Fit Me. And I just use a flat brush and I just dot it all over my face. It looks like a lot, but it's not a lot because the brush takes up a lot, so it's just like two dips, and I barely dip it, and I just dot it all over my face. And then this is a brush I got from Beauty Bogo as well. I have no idea what the name is. I was looking for the name, I couldn't find it. It's a flat kabuki brush. It's really dense, and I use it as to blend out my foundation. You will see in this video I use it for a lot of things. I use it to blend out my foundation, and I use it essentially to blend everything together. And I look like I'm beating my face, but honestly I sped up this part of the video because you don't need to see me doing this for like 2-3 minutes. And I try to blend down into my neck because my neck is darker than my face, but my chest is lighter than my face and my neck, so I try to match my foundation to my chest, so it might look darker, so my face might look lighter, but I blend down. And then I take my beautiful bronze concealer, the LA Girl concealer, and I use this first because I realize when I just use the fawn, it gives me I don't know what it does, but I don't like how it looks, so I mix it with the Beautiful Bronze. I use that. That's my skin color shade. That's my summer shade really, because I usually use toffee. And I mix this. I use it first and I bring it up the side of my nose, under my eye, and I just use one squeeze, and I use per eye, because the trick with concealer, y'all, it is to use as minimum as possible. Like honestly, we tend to go overboard, and I learned that the hard way, where I have to be blending and blending and removing, and it's not cute. And then I put that concealer around my mustache area, because yeah, that happens. I put it around my mustache area, and then I use when was I dancing to here? I used the LA Girl Pro Concealing Fawn, my highlight, my brow bone um concealer, and I use a little bit of that, and I just put it over the Beautiful Bronze, and I use the Fawn in the high points of my face, where the light hits your face. So I use it under my eyes, on my chin, on that jutted part of your chin where the light hits, and then down the bridge of my nose. I learned recently to hold my head down so I can see the bridge properly, and then in my forehead. And and I use it sparingly, because as I said, minimum necessary. You don't need to go overboard. Honestly, you're going to regret it. And then I take the same LA Girl. I'm using a lot of their products. It's not sponsored. And then I use the LA Girl in the darkest shade in Mahogany, and I use that to contour. And I contour right at my sideburn, because that's my natural contour. I forgot to show you guys. It's my natural contour, so when I'm not wearing a stitch of makeup, you can see the shadow there. So I tend to contour there, and then I do my forehead, because yeah, my forehead is kind of plentiful. Yeah, I have a pot cover forehead, as I used to hear, and I use that, and I put that all over that area, and then I get a damp beauty blender, a damp makeup sponge, and I blend. I leave my under eyes for last really, because I like to have a little full coverage under there. So I blend the foundation there. Oh, I didn't leave it for last this time. Oh, it was drying down. That's why. So I blend and I blend and I blend, and I think I put a little bit too much in this, because I realized I was doing a lot of blending, and I don't usually have to. And this is what I was talking about, using minimum necessary. If you realize that I have to be bringing the concealer out, because I have so much product under my eye. So yeah, I blend and I blend, and I just switch over to the other eye, and I allow over the other side to dry. And as you can see, I forwarded the video because I was doing a lot of blending, and then I take a buffer brush, a stippling brush, and I blend out that mahogany shade, and I try to blend up instead of down, because I don't want my contour to be all the way down here. It's just a little shadow line right there, just showing my cheekbones. So I try to blend it into the foundation, into the concealer, the highlighting shade. And then as you can see, like I said, I use my foundation brush and I blend everything together. I don't put any more product on it. I just use the brush itself, and I try to blend everything together so that it blends seamlessly from highlight to contour. As you can see the difference. Then I take the same mahogany shade, and I just just try to snatch my nose a little bit, just the bridges. I don't really do this because, like, I love my nose. I have an African nose, and I'm fine with it. I love my big Jamaican nose. I'm good. So I just use a little bit, and then I get a beauty sponge, and I just blend it out. Usually I would leave it and let it set, so that I would have a more vibrant contour, but not this time. It's just for dimensional purposes. And then I take my Sacha Buttercup. This is my holy grail product, and I dust off the excess, and I set my under eye, and I try to use I tend to go a little heavy handed, but this time I use as little as possible because I realize that I'm trying to make it beginner friendly, but I have an oily T-zone. My under eyes are my worst, my trouble spot. So I tend to be a little heavy handed under my eye when it comes to powder. So yeah, I set my under eye and I set my forehead. I try not to put a lot of powder on my forehead because I I don't want to be too over powdered. Then I take my City Color contour kit. I've had this for like 5 years. As you can see, the bronzing powder is gone. And I take an angled brush. This is from, oh god, I think this is from LA Colors or LA Girl. I think it's from LA Color. Let me check. I don't want to give wrong information. I think it's from, where is it? It's from, oh, Clean Color. You see, I saw them when I bring my guy prism because I rang information me given it. It's from Clean Color, and I just go over my contour areas. I just do a light brush, so it's to really bring up my contour and set it. And I just ensure that I blend it all out because blending is key. And then I take a really, I've been saying flat brush a lot. If I should count this, I take another really flat brush and I just go over those areas. Those, where did I get that list from? I go over those areas that I contoured on my nose, and like I said, really lightly because I'm not trying to have a rhinoplasty right here. And I just go over that area, and then I take a brush and I just blend it all out, and then I take the Juvia'S Place palette again, and this time it's not going under my eyes, darling. I take a fluffy brush and I go into that pink shade that I use as my transition shade, and I use that as blush because you know your girl going to get her a 3.5 out of this palette. And I go really lightly, and I kind of went a bit overboard here. I never realized, but if you can realize, I'm not dipping into it again. I'm just brushing it out. And the thing with blush, try to smile. As you can see, this awkward smiling that I'm doing. Yeah, try to smile so you can see the apples of your cheeks. And I turn to the side a bit because I have a little bit of chipmunk cheeks going on. So yeah, and I blend it into the contour, and then I take the same shimmer highlight shade that's on my lids and on my brow bone, and I use it as a highlight because I'm not trying to be all blinding. I just need a subtle highlight, and I like the subtle highlight that it gives. And I use a fan brush for this. Usually I would use a different brush, the brush that I use to blend out my nose contour or my fingers. Listen, you see any brush I take, any brush I catch first, that is what I'm using. Honestly, I use my brushes don't normally get used for what they are for, so anything I may get I use. So I just blend that out, and I'm using the fluffy brush that I use on my blush, and I just blending it all together. And is I think this is where I used the brown shade in the Juvia'S Place palette, and I just kind of like use it as a bronzer because I cannot for the life of me find a bronzer. Although this is cool tone and I'm warm tone, but I still use it. Yeah, this is when I remembered that I should show you guys. I use that brown shade, and I just like use it as a buffing zone to just blend all of that contour and blush and highlight together, because like I said, I'm going for a subtle look because the eyes are so powerful. So blend, guys, blend as much as you have to because it's really necessary. And then I take the Maybelline Master Fix by Face Studio setting spray because that's a lot of powder on my face. I just set my face, and then after that's dried, I take my Sacha Buttercup and I just put it on the side of my nose, right where I put my contour, just to bake my nose, just to give it that nice snatched look, give it a nice dimension, because that area is my tease, my oil, man. I could fry chicken back by my nose, honestly. If you're Jamaican, you know what I mean. So then I take the Sacha Buttercup and I just cut those sheep. I just carve those sheep bones, bro. I carve them because my face is a lot of fat, so I'm trying to get. Do you see how that contour is already standing up? Just some reverse contour right there. Just carving those sheep bones, letting them stand out. And then I try to be a little light-handed on the carving because the Sacha Buttercup stays. Then I take the Maybelline Fit Me powder foundation and take my foundation brush again, and I just sweep away that carving because I don't tend to leave it long. As I put it on, I get the foundation, the powder foundation, and I just sweep it all away and just blend it out because it leaves a, I don't want to say white cast because that has a bad connotation, but essentially that what it does because it leaves under that area lighter than above, so you can see the line of demarcation. So I try to blend it out as much as possible. As you can see, I keep going over it without adding more product, and I just blend. And I was supposed to use a fluffy brush right here, but I was like, nah, let me use that little brush for a little more precision, and I just blend away that baking because I tend to not bake for too long, because even though I have oily skin, baking for too long tends to make the powder seep into my skin and cause problems for later. So as you can see how matte that looks, but it also looks a little bit ashy. So I'm gonna go over that, and I'm gonna blend and blend and ensure that I get away all of the excess powder, because I don't want to be looking like no goddamn baby with just beard and full of almonds powder. Tell about country life. I can just imagine, the almonds powder when you got high school and the girl them used to have almonds powder and then chest. And the teacher them used to send them home. So then I take a brown pencil because as a black girl, nudes for me personally, I cannot wear them without an outlier. So I take a brown pencil and I line my lips just to have a little buffer between my skin and the nude. And I take the clean color matte gloss in, I honestly don't remember the shade, and I just use a little bit right in the center of my lips. And I use nude because my eyes are so colorful and I don't want to be looking like no goddamn Christmas tree. So I just use that, and as you can see, I do a little smile to ensure that yeah is there. And then after all of this, I do my under eye, where I take the purple shade and a small blending brush. I take the purple shade and I put that in the outer corner of my eye, and I don't show it here, but I mix the purple with the black that I used. I mix them together, and I don't know what just happened. Oh yeah, I forgot that part of the video froze, and I used that, and then I use the pink underneath and blend it all together. Then I take the Maybelline Great Lash, because again I say I don't use a lot because I was supposed to put on lashes but I didn't, and I have really long eyelashes anyway, so usually I would put on a whole lot more, so it gives you that more va voom look. But yeah, I made a few put on lashes and I couldn't find them, so I was just like, let me just stay. Then I take my LA Girl strobing product. This is the shade 100 watt, I think. And as I said, this brush, anything that I grab I use, and I just use it to like bring up back my highlights because I blended it all out really. I put it in the inner corner, and this isn't what I wanted to use for my inner corner. I should have used the shimmer shade, but I already did that. So I use it in my inner corner. I use a small pencil brush, and then I put it on in that highlighted area of my nose, just the little tip of my nose, and down the bridge a little. And then I use my finger and I blend it out because I don't want to be looking at no headlights in here. And then I just blend that all together, and then usually I tend to go back over this with my setting spray. And this time I'm very liberal with it because I've put a lot of product on my face and a lot of powder, and I want it to set into my face, and I just fan, and then that's the final product. So I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe and let me know what you want to see next. So thank you guys.